On a bitter cold January morning in 2022, a Boston police detective responded to a call outside a quiet Canton, Massachusetts home. He found an SUV backed into a drive, tire prints frozen in the snow, and behind it, a body. That body belonged to 16-year veteran officer John O'Keefe. He had died of head trauma and hypothermia. Minutes earlier, his girlfriend of 2 years, financial analyst and adjunct professor Karen Reed, had left the scene. What happened between those moments would spark one of the most controversial and polarizing cases in Massachusetts history. It was her SUV, it was her night out, and yet, for years the answer to one question remained elusive. Did Karen Reed kill him, or was she framed? Tonight we dive into the full story. The man, the woman, the party, the crash, the investigation, and the verdict. John J. O'Keefe III was called JJ. Born 1975, raised outside Boston, Northeastern alumnus, Masters in Criminal Justice. A 16-year veteran of the Boston Police Department, he'd risen through the ranks, taken guardianship of his niece and nephew after family tragedy, and was known for his relentless work ethic and loyal friendships. His colleagues remembered him as someone who showed up, not just at work, but at funerals, fundraisers, team dinners. On the night of January 28, 2022, John left a party around 1 a.m. He was dropped off by his girlfriend near his home. That was the last time anyone saw him alive. Karen Reed, born 1980, from Taunton, Massachusetts and Blacksburg, Virginia, held a master's in finance. She worked for Fidelity Investments since 2007 and lectured in finance at Bentley University. To many, she seemed successful, polished, someone who had it together. She rekindled an old friendship with John in 2020 during the pandemic, and by 2021, they were in a relationship. On the surface, two accomplished professionals sharing a home in Mansfield while staying in Canton for John's job. Friends described them as cordial, at times distant. John's work kept him busy. Karen's work kept her busy. There were no overt signs of domestic violence, but there were cracks. Friends said Karen sometimes felt overlooked. John sometimes felt frustrated. No one predicted what the night ahead would bring. On Friday evening, January 28, 2022, John and Karen attended a dinner and then a gathering at the home of retired Boston Police Sergeant Brian Albert in Canton. There were cocktails, laughter, camaraderie among officers, their spouses, and friends. Witnesses say John had several drinks. Karen had more than a few. A witness said, "He seemed fine. She seemed distracted." At around midnight, John left the house. According to his phone, Karen followed minutes later in the SUV. Surveillance video captured Karen's vehicle reversing out of Albert's driveway shortly after 1 a.m. At 6:03 a.m. the next morning, officers were called to the front lawn of Albert's home. There lay John O'Keefe, unresponsive, face down in the snow. He was pronounced dead at 7:59 a.m. The autopsy would later list his cause of death as blunt force trauma to the head and hypothermia. Manner of death, undetermined initially. Prosecutors would allege Karen had reversed her SUV at 24 miles per hour, struck John on the driveway, and left him to freeze in the snow. The defense would counter. He was assaulted inside the home, perhaps by a dog or a third party. The SUV impact theory was flawed, evidence tampered. Tire tracks, boot prints, shattered snow, a broken taillight on the SUV, a blood-matched hair on the rear bumper, extensive phone data. Detectives said, "We found winter fibers, snow compaction under the wheel well, and data that showed the vehicle moved in reverse the night of." Was John killed by Karen's car, or killed earlier and placed outside? At 1:03 a.m., SUV reverses from driveway. 1:10 a.m., John's phone last receives a voice message from Karen. 1:22 a.m., SUV parked at Karen's home, Mansfield. 6:03 a.m., John was found dead in a snowbank outside Albert's house. The prosecution's theory: Karen hit him, left him, went home. He died of exposure. The defense's theory: John was beaten or incapacitated inside the party home. His body moved, a cover-up involving law enforcement friends. Investigators from the Massachusetts State Police, Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, and Canton PD launched one of the most scrutinized death investigations in the region's history. Key evidence include T1, Karen's digital footprints, phone data, location logs, voice message. She left a message on John's voicemail: "I hit him. prosecutors said. Forensic analysis of the SUV's taillight, broken, snow-packed, lab found O'Keefe's DNA in the crack. Phone metadata, Karen's phone and John's phone both show inactivity in the 1 to 2 a.m. window behind the house, a dead zone. Witness statements from partygoers. Some recall John being upset. Some recall hearing a disturbance upstairs. But the investigation was hampered by allegations of law enforcement conflict. One lead investigator, Trooper Michael Proctor, would later be revealed to have sent derogatory text about Karen before trial. That revelation would become a major red flag for the defense. In March 2024, the U.S. Justice Department opened an internal investigation into Norfolk County prosecutors and the Massachusetts State Police related to the case. Meanwhile, the community was rivet, banners supporting Karen, bills placed outside the courthouse, conspiracy theories swirling. The first trial began in April 2024. It lasted 8 weeks, heard 68 witnesses, and ended July 1st with a hung jury and mistrial. During deliberations, jurors reportedly told the judge they found Karen not guilty on 2 of the charges but deadlocked on the murder count, though no verdict was recorded. The judge denied a motion to dismiss the charges. The prosecution vowed to retry the case. On April 1st, 2025, the second trial commenced. High-profile attorneys on both sides, evidence sharpened, emotions raw. The prosecution presented a new phase, updated crash reconstruction experts, toxicologist testimony placing Karen's blood alcohol concentration between 0.14 to 0.29% at around midnight. The defense attacked the credibility of the original SUV hit scenario, proposed alternate injuries from dog bite, pointed to flawed taillight documentation, alleged rampant conflicts within law enforcement investigating groups. On June 18, 2025, after 4 days of deliberation, the jury returned verdicts. Not guilty of second-degree murder, not guilty of manslaughter while under the influence, not guilty of leaving the scene, guilty only of operating under the influence, EY, 1 year of probation. Karen Reed walked out, free of the major charges. For the family of John O'Keefe, the verdict was a blow. For Karen's supporters, a vindication. For the system, a cautionary tale. Legal fallout continued. The lead investigator, Trooper Proctor, was fired in March 2025 for his conduct. Federal scrutiny into the Norfolk DA's office deepened. Media documentaries exploded. Public trust eroded. This case raised bigger questions than just one death. It asked, what happens when those sworn to protect are accused of protecting the one under suspicion? What happens when a victim is a cop, and when the accused is doubted by the investigators? For Detective Harlow, it was a reminder. Investigations must be impeccable, because if there's a misstep, the truth might never surface. For Karen Reed, the verdict means freedom from murder charges, but not freedom from the public eyes. For John O'Keefe's memory, a life ended abruptly, a family still seeking closure, justice, and meaning. Perhaps the greatest takeaway, in the most high-stakes investigations, the line between truth and narrative can blur. Evidence can be interpreted, people can be convinced, jurors can be divided. In Canton, on that snowy morning, the answer may have been simple, but the story became complex. And the cost was everything. What do you think really happened that night? Was Karen Reed guilty, or was she the victim of a broader cover-up? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching Silent Evidence, True Crime Exposed. If you found this story compelling, please like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time for another chilling true crime story.